some interesting incidents at that table. I think that permit me to do a few protocols. When I was invited as a chairman, my senior brother, the chief of Cape Coast, laughed. Then they introduced the chairman of the council as the chair for today's event. And whenever the vice chancellor referred to him as Nana Chair, he moved closer to the chief of Cape Coast. He wanted the Nana to be real. Interestingly, when he was also introduced and they referred to him Francois School, I saw the chief of Cape Coast also move closer to Nana Bata. For the simple reason that he went to Adesado. So it was either the best or with the best. So he wanted to get closer to the best. And so we've been having a little bit of Laura and Hardy, just sitting down there and watching. Interestingly, the Speaker of the House, who is also here, is an Honorable Lake Duck parliamentarian. So this is his end of this parliamentary chapter. So we'll also be laughing at him. So I have to introduce him. And of course, one of the finest gentlemen that I find in Parliament is Honorable Pelpo, and thank God he's going to contest again. All other protocols observed. But most interestingly, when the chair of the occasion was being given his accolades, and they said that he's the chair, I mean, he used to be a football, the way he raised his coat, then when he said, oh, football administrator, he put the coat back on. He thought he was going to say footballer, you know. But today is a very unique day for me. I never thought that I was going to be standing here to introduce one of the finest gentlemen that I've ever come across in my life. Most importantly, I also feel sad that they said today is they are doing this thing, streaming it live. It worries me. There are too many radio and pen terrorists around. So please, if I throw a bomb, make sure that you catch it before it leaves this room. But most interestingly is the fact that I'm filled with a lot of oral history. And even when I was sitting out there, Mrs. Igalo was filling me with more oral history. And one of the oral histories that I have is in 1951. Two gentlemen traveling down from Sekondi to Accra happened to have stopped at Biako and pointed to that hill, that is where they're going to build a university. And it's because of that university and two people's dream, and they're at the top. Today, we are all here to think about the future of the university. But most importantly is when the Vice Chancellor was talking about the changing needs, changing times, the innovation and so on, my mind went to Cape Coast and what it has represented for some of us within our history. And there's this attachment to the place, not because of anything, because Cape Coast was the center that gave us the thoughts of becoming Ghanaians, and we are Ghanaians today. That was the place that we had the Mesa Sabas, we had the Communal Sechis, name it. But most importantly, because of the changing times, we saw the Infancy Amambo Feku becoming the Aborigines Rights of Protection Society, and out of this grew a school which had the motto, Jim Shekha. Today we are here to look ahead. And what impressed me about the Vice Chancellor's speech was they're not thinking about tomorrow, they're thinking forward to 2025. The Vice Chancellor, let me say my personal thank you for this vision of 2025. But interestingly, it was also apt that in looking around and finding somebody to come and talk today, looked around and talked and found somebody who I believe embodies a vision. It's an unrealized vision. I don't like talking about him. Usually, whenever he's around and he's talking, I keep quiet. Mainly because it's always good to listen to him. I went to school with him through Cape Coast, became the best of friends, probably became the best of brothers. He's more closer to me as a brother than even an Abatwa himself. And the joy about him is this. his intellect is always superb. And he's one of the very few people in the country that are referred to as a critical patriot. He's a nationalist, but he's also a critical patriot, not just a patriot, but a critical patriot. I'm saying whoever he is or whoever he is, he's very happy that I'm using these adjectives about him, because I wouldn't say this. I wanted to say them over his dead body if he makes a mistake of dying before me. But today I'm forced to say some of these things. He's always truthful. He's truthful to himself and he's truthful to others about his words. He has a lot of integrity, and it's one thing that I admire about him. Every time you just can't fault him in his thought. Integrity to himself and to his nation. It's a very rare quality that we have. And one thing that surprised me was one day, the very handsome president that we have, I heard him speak. And most of you know that I don't praise president and so on. But I heard him speak. He said, oh, this is one gentleman that I rely on his mind and on his counsel. That day, I jumped. I cheered for the president. You know, imagine a chief standing up and cheering for the president. I did that. But in all this is that he has a quality that Saba had. And we all remember the famous Saba words that in serving my country, the land of my birth, I have no need for reward. He has always been somebody calling to serve, and he comes to serve. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes it's difficult for a chief to speak to eggheads and very beautiful women. So the eggheads here should forgive me. But I feel really honored and proud that today I'm introducing one of the finest men in the world. A man that I'll always admire. A man whose family is my family. A man whose intellect should have confined him to the university and not into the political scene that we are in. A man that we should always listen to and whose counsel is not just the president, but even to humble chiefs like me. I present to you a man who used to call himself William Edmond Davidson Emisata, but had the guts to become African in his final year in the university and says, how can I have all these things? I am Kwesi Bekwi Emisata, His Excellency.
Mr. Chairman, members of the University Council, Osabrema Kusata, Michael Ugwa Traditional Area, and Akomem Ketia, the Chairman in Chief of the Sikado, Ministers of State, Members of Parliament, the Deputy Speaker, Vice Chancellor, former Vice Chancellors, Excellencies, members of the diplomatic corps, which is the African ambassadors who are here, thank you for coming. Nananum, members of convocation, members of the UCC Diamond Club, friends, former students, graduates of the University of Cape Coast, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I want to begin by thanking the organizers for inviting me to be part of the inauguration of the University of Cape Coast Diamond Club. But why Diamond Club? Kusidona is involved in it. Go for gold. Why do you stay in diamonds when there's gold? Maybe the Vice Chancellor would like to inaugurate another one, high level gold club. But I'm told that this club is bringing together prominent individuals who want to dedicate their knowledge, their expertise, and their resources to the development and growth of the University of Cape Coast. I salute all the good-hearted people who are dedicating themselves to promote this good cause. Mr. Chairman, the occasion provides an opportunity for all of us to reflect on the critical role of the university and how it continues to play a part in delivering quality education and accelerating the development and transformation of our country. For our youth to compete effectively in today's globalized economy, we need to shift from the old days of training students. Not only must today's graduates be adequately trained in their chosen field of study, they must be equipped also with the knowledge and the skill set, the leadership qualities that are relevant for the constantly changing needs of this modern global economy. It's our responsibility to graduate students who can match their counterparts from other parts of the world. As the world is getting smaller, and we are competing in the same market, the same skills. And also because of information technology and Google, which has all the answers. It is not enough for students just to be knowledgeable. They must be trained to be able to apply that knowledge to solve the present needs of our societies. So this challenge is not just for government support, but for the mobilization of resources from different sources to develop the human capital requirements. It is possible, and I'm confident, that the University of Cape Coast Diamond Club will live up to the challenge by positioning the university for growth, development, and for excellence. So, Chairman, for funding to be sustained, new answers must be found to basic questions. How is the funding to be sourced? How is it to be applied? Who pays for what in the university? What are the alternative ways of supporting the institution? How do we encourage innovative thinking and create a wide pool of funding to meet the needs of a growing university? I have three responses to the question that I've posed. And the first is that making the university's activities relevant to society is through, as the Vice Chancellor has stated, is through a partnership arrangement with industry in training students and building the capacity of its faculty to deliver timely solutions to challenges through their research activities. Today's universities, the great universities, do not operate as islands. They must engage and be practical and relevant. This requires networking with other institutions of repute. And therefore, we must train practical ways. That's my first response. The second is that the government also has a role. And as a government that believes in investing in people, education remains one of our priorities. We'll therefore continue to invest in the sector and are committed to supporting the University of Cape Coast by developing key faculties, key facilities to produce high-quality manpower. And thirdly, Mr. Chairman, I believe that the establishment of this club will help nurture the culture of giving to support the developmental activities of the universities. I will explain myself in a little bit. This university has played an important role in the lives of many of those of us assembled here. I was not lucky to have been educated in the university. But the education that many of you received in that university made your lives meaningful. And they encouraged you to excel and to achieve beyond your wildest expectations. For some, probably also, the impact that the university made on them is more mundane. They found a spouse. They became internalists, as they say, in the university. And so they still have an attachment to that university, even their houses. Therefore, in many different ways, the University of Cape Coast has influenced you, and you have to show your appreciation to the university. So, Chairman, in many world-class universities, the written will, the written will, have provided the charitable funding to the university after the death of the benefactor. Bequests now account for a substantial portion of the endowment and funding of universities and helps sustain many aspects of university life, not just in academic facilities, in health, in sports, in libraries, in halls of residence, etc. Endowments have been made. So simply put, the impact of bequests has helped shape many universities today. I'll give two examples. In Harvard, the Reverend John Harvard was 31 years old when he died. He died childless in the year 1638, 2 years after the founding of the university that came to bear his name. The state then had invested £400 in setting up the university. £200 to be disbursed in the first year, £200 in the second year. In an oral will, John Harvard did not write a will. He had an oral will in which he gave half of his estate that he had inherited from his parents and his brother. He gave half, valued at £780 to Harvard, and the other half to his wife. It was such a generous gift that he became, the founders felt that he was the most influential of founders, and therefore they named the university after him. To this day, Harvard University benefits from the income that investments that he gave to them. The second example I have is Cornell University. Ezra Cornell was 71 years old when he died in 1874. He made a gift of his farm to set up a university. And that university bears his name, Cornell University. Now, profits from his investments in land in the state of New York continue today to endow the university with substantial income. So they have bequeathed, the benefactors have bequeathed substantial amounts to the universities. And these funds cost nothing to the benefactors because they are dead. They are dead, but their money is talking. So the timeless generosity means that this gift will live on, honoring these people for generations to come. And there's one more, as an economist, there's one more practical reason why we should give freely to the universities as we die. Because it avoids a problem that is particularly an African problem of personal solicitation. If you give 100,000 to dwarfs, the people will come to you because they think you have it and they will solicit money from you. But if you are dead, they cannot solicit from your estate. So if you give to the university in your will, half of your assets, the name of your parents, the name of your children will live on and on and on. It's timeless. So let us not think that the 70-year-olds, the 80-year-olds who are members of the club are the ones that are going from their pensions to provide resources for the university. That resource must come from the will that we leave behind and the resources that we leave for the university. Mr. Chairman, I think I've made a good case and I have to end here. So on behalf of the government of Ghana, let me congratulate the University Council, management of the university, and the staff for this important initiative. I know that I express my appreciation and that of many individuals for those people who have accepted the challenge of assisting the University of Cape Coast to realize its full potential. So while we are committed to maximize donations may want to encourage rich Ghanaians when writing their wills to bequeath a portion of their assets to the investee. Acknowledge our investee in a meaningful way and make a lasting difference to it for our own personal legacy and to the parents and children and relatives that we want to honor. So while I wait for the inauguration of the Gold Club, which I promised to be a member, I want to thank the members of the Diamond Club, and may God bless this enterprise so that I achieve the biggest success. Thank you.
Induction of members into the Diamond Club, and I invite Lawyer Solomon Fachi.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, Honorable invited guests, all protocol observed. At this juncture, I will humbly invite the members of the Diamond Club to majestically walk forward when they hear their names.
Dr. Sesam Eson Jonah, Nana Sam Rubata, Professor D.D. Kupoli, Madam Esla Teria, Mr. Alfred Amudakun, Honorable Mrs. Priscilla Ahen Crunchy, Mr. Bassam El Hussein, Mr. Eko Nkoma Bintum, Mr. Stephen Intim, Bennett Akantoa, Mr. Alec, Dr. Jibril Adam, Mr. Kofi Totobi Kwachi, Abraham Amaleba Esquire, Honorable Ebu Barton Odro, Arthur Dazi, Reverend Dr. George Dawson Amwa, Honorable Kweku Ricketts Hagan, Mr. Kwame Sifakai, Professor Abdul Ghani Ambani, Mr. Abedi Ayub Pele, Mr. Henry O. Taki, His Royal Highness Eze Ambassador Dr. Chu, Mr. Alexis Siedu, Professor Toby Dikoni, Mr. Delano Ayi Kwesen, Mr. Robert Lehunt, Agri Owens, Mrs. Fanny Igala, Dr. Paul Finn, Dr. Joseph Okai Afrani, Mr. Millicent Nan, Reverend Professor Samuel K. Ejapong, Professor Kobna Yansen, Professor Haruna Yakuba, Professor John Nelson Boa, Professor Kwame Osei Safo,
Well, we have the membership oath, and you're going to commit yourself to the ideals and then pledges that are contained therein. My little experience has shown me that it's always easier to administer the oath to persons of lower grade in the language in which it's being administered. But for the sake of uniformity, I would rather want that you follow my sequence rather than take your own. Please bear with me and move with me. When I say I, you mention your respective names and follow. I, bona fide member of the Diamond Club of the University of Cambridge. Do solemnly promise. That I will abide by. Follow and uphold. All the provisions of the codes and conduct of this club. And to the best of my ability. Live up to the expectations of the club. And my commitments and responsibilities as a member. I further pledge to pursue the ideals and objectives of the University of Cape Coast Diamond Club. And to be a proud member. I further swear to help and promote the development of the University of Cape Coast Diamond Club. And to support in whatever way I can. In the implementation of the club's projects and activities. And for the development of the university. And upliftment of the quality of life of the people in the university community. And so help me God. Congratulations.
My fear is that you may break me with it.
I'm going to the bar.
I've avoided him.
Are you avoiding me, Your Excellency?
Not you. I'm positive. As long as I don't break me.